you're not first in the chopping block.
We'll talk later.
Yep. Crickets.
Cheerio.
Hello, Governor.
How about that new?
Again.
How about that new FL?
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm actually live of something, on something.
It's working.
Well, at least something's working. What is going on, everybody? I feel like I haven't talked to you guys all freaking day. Not you guys on the Zoomy, but you guys in the chat. Something's going on with the creators. We're not able to upload to the channel from the mobile device, so that means no shorts. It means nothing to interact with you guys throughout the day.
Some of you.
So
Yeah.
I
Brian,
did fine.
I'm feeling very, very much better. Thank you. Yeah, last week sucked for me, but for you guys, thanks, Justin. For you guys, the giveaway was able to take place. Mustered through it, got it all situated. For those of you got the scan tools, all that information I forwarded Ford Boss me. He's going to take care of that.
I'll get it out to them. I'll get it out to them within the next couple of days. I'm just real busy right now.
Oh, most stuff. My stuff went out yesterday, so you guys stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled. Welcome to everybody who keeps coming in. Ray, you tired?
Nope, I'm good. I'm just fine.
You tired?
No, I'm good.
You look
Sure?
like you're ready to beat somebody up, dude.
Let me fix that.
From Detroit, man.
Ray's just suffering from asbestos poisoning.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I saw that video.
I saw that. What was going on with that?
We were having way too much fun.
Yeah, but what was the whole premise behind that? I didn't watch the videos leading up to it. I'm sorry, I don't catch them all. I'm a content creator.
Oh, okay. So there was the building that encases my shop has another building next to it that the shop building was built over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of wasted space. So I'm knocking down 3/4 of the structure and turning that space into more of my shop.
Yeah.
Because it was just a giant closet with all this overhead wasted space. And so I added that to my rent and knocked the building down yesterday and Monday. And yeah, I'm pretty tired. Yeah, Cliff, you got me. He knows. You're just as tired as I am, Cliff. He was there.
Cody was there too, right?
Yep, Cody was there.
It was pretty cool to see.
They missed out on the good stuff because I rolled in there today with a skid steer, or yesterday.
What's it gonna take to get Cliff on camera?
He was on camera.
He was.
I mean,
yesterday. He was.
Just the back of. I only saw the one where you tore it down, and it was like, "Oh, Cliff doesn't want to be on camera."
I was on camera with him today.
Were you?
His wife had him on camera.
I got to check that out.
I seen somebody else. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah,
Cliff
we'll
was
get
on
him.
camera with me too. For 30 minutes.
Brian's asking, that was when you walked into the shop, the wall that was on the right, on the other side of the Jeep that was on the hoist.
Yep.
That was all coming down.
Yeah, all that came down.
So what's going to be new for 23? We have hopefully some new trucks going to be coming through. I still have yet to see a 23 in person while it's not moving. Hopefully whoever's going to be driving it will. How do I play stupid? Can I see underneath the hood? I just want to see some. I want to see some stuff. I want to see. Actually, really interested in seeing what the battery part number is going to be. Because they got some AGMs up in them boys. 200K, maybe. Rev Ed up. What up?
Well, we know they're getting the Pro Power to the Super Duties. I wonder if that requires an AGM battery or if that helps. Having that 2 kilowatt inverter and all that stuff is probably a lot of draw.
There's got to be for that. That's the only reason why they run AGM batteries on there. What else would there be that they would need that much draw? I mean, it's our capacity. It's got to be for that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good assessment there, DS.
Hmm.
How about that filter, Aaron?
Pretty impressed. It's on my list right now and at work. I have a really sweet cat filter cutter tool that one of my followers sent me, and next to it is my FL2124. And if you guys got a chance to see Ford Boss's video, it was pretty. I didn't expect to see the difference like that in the filters, so it was really interesting to see. And his little oil contraption he's got, that was really cool. I like that. That was pretty sweet.
The heater and the thermometer.
Yeah, like you had the little scale and you were weighing, you
Yeah.
weighed the synthetic element, and then you weighed the tin.
Oh yeah, that thing. I thought you were talking about my what the hell is this thing called? This right here.
A fish?
Not that.
Uh, yes, FBM's video on the filter was nice. Yes.
That's not what I wanted. I want this thing. How do I get this to go away?
1.21 gigawatts. Does the H&S fuel filter mess with the truck warranty? No, bro. It's just as if you use another air filter, you'd be good.
Oh,
This-
sweet.
This is what I was talking about. The beakers,
Ooh.
then the heating scale. It's got a magnetic pill in the bottom of it that spins around and keeps the oil moving. I can adjust the RPM here. I can adjust the heat here. I can set my time and stuff on. I can switch it to an on-off setting so I can control the heat in pulses. And basically, what I would use that for is, I've seen some of the guys on YouTube, and I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm not talking down. I'm trying to offer something different. I've seen guys on YouTube do their testing and stuff like that. They're heat testing, and it's always on a coffee pot, on a flat surface that's heating it up. And that's efficient, don't get me wrong. But I've got a magnetic setup now with a magnetic pill that constantly moves that at a set RPM while I'm heating it up. And that way, when I set this thing at 250 degrees Celsius, 1 hour later, I can actually weigh out in grams what my weight was before and what my weight is after, while the fluid is constantly moving like it would be in an engine at a given RPM with that 250 degrees Celsius. So I get a more accurate reading on what that NOAC volatility is, how much oil am I actually losing at a given temperature and time, so we can see how stable the oil is to resist evaporation under certain heat loads. And I'm building a garage up right now to get all that done. I've got the walls done in the garage. Now I'm starting on my workbenches and stuff, so I can start setting all this up out there and getting my science station set up for all my oils, my weight testing, a board of nothing but readouts of what every single virgin oil is rated at and what all the listings are TBN wise. And
Somebody's commented, Ford Boss is no longer a mechanic or a technician. He's now a scientist.
well, I mean, if you're going to do something different, you may as well invest the money and just do it. You know, a lot of people come to me and they ask me questions about oil and stuff like that. And they like the way I do things a little different than some people, and some it's the same. And, you know, one of the main guys we go to for this type of stuff is Project Farm. So a lot of people are, well, Project Farms already did that test. You're right. He has, and he's done a very, very good job of doing it. But if you can see multiple data sets and multiple people doing the same type of testing, maybe even making it a little bit better, now you have a better group of information on how to make a decision on what you want to use in your view.
Project Farm did a great job doing it on the little flat iron, and he moved it around so it's not sitting in the same spot. The only thing is he didn't have it spinning.
Right. And this is the way he did it's fine, but this is a more controlled, like scientific lab type way of doing it that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go the extra mile here. and I'm gonna spend $500 on a test tool that I know I can control everything, and I can set a timer up. I can have the thing shut off if I forget. It's all built in, so it takes that error portion out of it, and I don't have to sit there and babysit it.
Trevor's got a good question here. I have a 2267 with the Banks cold air intake. Truck seems to be making a chuffing noise sound, almost like turbo flutter or a rush of air when I come to a stop. Ever heard this before? I have. In fact, it's probably not to the extreme, but if you go to CP's garage video, he made one just a couple of weeks ago regarding just this. And it's normal. It's just the turbo doing its vane sweep, and you're intaking air. You get this audible noise discharged through the air filter, and since you got the Banks on there, the Banks big ass air filter, you will definitely hear more audible intake-y type noise. So
Here's something interesting, and I haven't even released this on my channel yet. So I sent off this right here, Aaron. Boys, I sent this off right here. Schaefer's 9000 full synthetic. This stuff had almost triple the additive package that I've seen in most oils. It was absolutely phenomenal on paper. Now, I took the Moly EP additive that you can add to it, the oil treatment, and I divided the vial up. It's all on video. You can't hide it. It's there for everybody to see. I segmented everything, and I added the right portion of EP to it, shook it up real good, sent it off.
Stupid.
They tested it, and they didn't get back to me right away. And I messaged them the other day, and I said, hey, what's going on with the sixth sample I sent out of this last shipment? I just spent $225 with you guys, and there's another $40, $50 sitting out there. I'm waiting on this other sample. They said, give it some time. It's going to update by 5 o'clock tonight. That Moly EP in the Schaefer 9000 5W30 reduced, and I repeat, reduced the amount of moly and boron in the package and increased the oil viscosity. And they said, even in their notes, we had to test this sample twice because we did not expect to see, or we wanted to confirm that the numbers we were getting are right. Under heat treatment, this oil tested at 107.1 degrees, or 107.1 sus viscosity, which is almost twice the amount you would expect from an oil with the EP. Now that's a Moly EP. How come it didn't increase the moly? It didn't do anything to the moly. Actually, all it did was stabilize the viscosity. So maybe somebody else that understands this a little different than me. What is Moly EP then? If it's not boosting the moly that's in the oil, is it just an oil stabilizer? Is it just another Lucas that you're just dumping in the oil?
I'll ask Lake Speed about that.
Because
That's a good question.
It did not boost the additive package for what I've seen at all. It actually retracted from the moly.
I wonder.
But that's the best oil I've seen so far. I got to redo. If Anthony can send me some, I'll even send you some cash or whatever. If you can send me a quart of the AMSOIL Signature Series 5W30 and a quart of the AMSOIL XL 5W30, I want to send that off for virgin testing as well and compare that to the Schaefer 9000, because the 9000, it had like 300 and something moly parts per million, and then it had like 205 boron or something parts per million. I was like, wow, this is not even any of the extended performance oils did nowhere near as good as that oil did. That Schaefer 9000 is a darn good oil.
Ford Boss, I kind of want to get in on that if you're going to send some virgin oils out, because the BG guy let me know that they had motor oil, and I think it sells for like $30 a quart, just whatever they got in their bottle of 530. And I kind of want to see like how that ranks. And I don't want to buy any of it because that's just ridiculous. $30 a quart. I don't know what to do with that. But I wouldn't mind sending it, coming off the cash for a quart or two just to get it tested and see
if we can get it. if we can get it though, because you might be able to get better than me because now you have your own shop. They won't sell it directly.
Oh
to
no,
me.
that's what I'm saying. Like I can get it. Like I can
Yeah.
get BG oil. I'm a BG dealer, so
You-
I can buy a couple quarts of oil and I'll send it to you.
You get it, just 1 quart, send it to me. I'll send the sample out. So you pay for the quart, I'll pay for the sample. Then we'll split it down the middle that way.
All right, that's
And
cool.
then I'll have something even more to back it up because I'm actually running BG full synthetic 5W30 right now in the Grand Marquis or the town car. I got to go back and I have to look. So I actually will have a used analysis to go along with it.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send you the 530. You said the signature series and the XL, right?
Yeah, and I'll send you
All
the
right.
cash to cover it or whatever. But I want to get that out there to compare it against the Schaefer's as well because now my database is growing very large and now I have like 3 years worth of oil sitting around. So now I'm not buying full kits anymore. Now I'm only buying 1 quart at a time because this is ridiculous, man.
I got another one that I want to send you. I briefly spoke with you about it, the Surma oil.
Oh yeah,
I got a quart of that. I'm going to send you too.
Yeah.
So I think it's 520 though.
I got like another $300 worth of oil in the garage that still has to be sent off, and that's going to be like another $250 or more of testing. I mean, this stuff is getting expensive.
Now you just got to do it yourself.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at testing machines to figure out where I needed to be. If I'm going to start doing oil analysis for people and I'm going to be competitive, then I'll do it at home. They can send the oil to me. I'll do it at home and I'll test it here. But I'm looking for a specific type of machine that will rate everything at the new whatever standards. And I actually don't know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at these machines.
Fair.
It's scary because some of them are $3,000, some of them are $15,000, some of them are $25,000. I don't know what I need.
Well, who would you even ask? Very clean mafia. Woo woo.
Amsoil dealers. Don't forget Amsoil dealers.
Everyone is an Amsoil deal.
No, somebody said something about last week we're all Amsoil dealers and now it's BG or something like that.
That was the consensus he said.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but everybody,
You know,
we're all Amsoil dealers still.
Somebody actually said that to me. Somebody was like, oh, why you're an Amsoil dealer or something like that. And of course you're going to be biased. And I said, no, I'm not. I've spoke about every oil in the book so far on how I like some, how I don't like some, how I did not like the signature series, but I love the XL. It seemed to make my engine sound a little bit better. It sheared less. I have to go back and revisit that again to make sure I did everything correctly, but I'm not biased to any
Like
oil.
the Amsoil spray too, the metal protector.
I said at first, I'm probably not going to like that stuff. And Anthony sent it to me and I was like, wow, this stuff is actually great. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
I still got
That's
that
what's
other
up.
can I got to send you to so you can finish the truck.
That's what's up. I actually got two different things from Amsoil today. Tell me if you guys have heard or seen of these. This is a first for me. Start using it, see what's up. But this is Amsoil diesel cold flow. Never heard of this one.
Ooh.
Okay. And this one says diesel recovery. And this is like, kind of reminds me of the power service bottle. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
So thaws frozen fuel filters, keep in vehicle for emergencies. It does have a very, very big caution on it. Harmful, fatal if swallowed. So it's not too tasty. But those are between the Hot Shots and the Amsoil. Thanks, Hervey. Those are probably my top go-to triple threats that I run. I got EDT FR3 in the oil, EDT, bounce between EDT and Amsoil quite regularly. Make sure I use the orange bottle of Amsoil in the cold winter, and the green bottle I usually run 75% the rest of the time, but I definitely like to be putting some anti-gel cold weather additive for the winter. Would you guys recommend T6 oil? Yeah, I just did. Customer had me do his own oil change and brought all of his own materials. T6, both the upper HSM, lower HSM, and the SNS. We had 3 fuel filters to replace, so I did those all as well. And what else did he bring? Blackstone. Took a little sample. What else did I do? We did rotate, and we did some wiper arm recalls. If you guys have had the newer SuperDutys 21s built after, I think it's in June, you may be eligible for 22S26, which is a safety recall for the wiper arms. If you pay attention to them, go pull your arm up off of the windshield. The arm piece should be on there and not moving, the wiper facing to the sky. The ones that I'm finding that are failing are really wobbly, and if you go to take the wiper arm off, there's supposed to be a little aluminum little block that is supposed to
Keyway.
key it into the wiper nub, and it is not there. It's fallen out, so those wiper arms can actually sit and flop around, and the reason for the recall, they can fly away. So without that little keyway, then they're not going to be sitting in there. So if you guys, next time you're cleaning your truck, you're wiping down the windshield or your cowl, and you don't even know about this recall, take a look at your wiper arms, see if they're loose at all. They should be nice and tight. So Commander Classified, thanks, bud. Thanks. Same to you. Same to you. Yeah, T6 is good. No big deal. My wiper scraped lines on my windshield. Oof.
Oh, it's
Yikes.
we're talking about. I'm looking like Scotty Schiller. All right.
Let's talk about 4-wheel drive vacuum seals leaking and causing a higher pitched sound when 4-wheel drive engaged on my 22 350/67 Tremor. Wow. Can't say I've ever heard that before. Really strange. I'll have to a 22 350 Tremor. Says 4-wheel drive vacuum seals leaking and causing a higher pitched sound when 4x4 engaged. Kind of weird. I'd be interested to see that, especially running it without a hoist on 4x4.
Yeah.
Pretty weird. You know, there's been a good handful of times where we've had clients come in complaining of customer states popping noise when turning. Customer states vehicle seems like it's binding when pulling into a parking lot. For whatever reason, these gentlemen are riding around with their hubs locked in.
Yep.
We're not supposed to be doing that. So really, there's no reason to be spinning all of that stuff when it doesn't need to be used, and especially when although the transfer case isn't engaged, but when you're driving those axle shafts, it's going to give you that sensation when you're turning that everything's binding up because you're turning U-joints and a whole bunch of stuff. Redneck Tech, thanks, bud. Does anybody know what can cause an e-brake light to stay on with full brake fluid, all sensors in condition, and emergency brake is fully disengaged?
Yes, sir.
What do we got? What do we got? What are we working on?
There's a lot of those that I've done where either the cable itself starts to get lazy, the mechanism gets lazy, or the sensor's not mounted behind the pedal stop properly or on the top of it. So it'll start to get lazy and it'll sag, or something will be catching underneath, or be a spring or something that's hung up, not letting it return all the way, whatever it may be. And you have to look at that cable assembly and make sure that pedal's pulled up all the way and it's sucked up to hit that sensor. Some of them come out of adjustment. I've seen guys get in the truck kind of lazy, pushing up against the side of the truck right there. They'll catch the pedal every once in a while and they'll just barely nick it. That alone can do it. People kicking their feet up underneath the dash, screwing stuff up down there.
Yep, that's a big one.
get under there and just look at that thing. Make sure, go under there with a flashlight, identify where that e-brake sensor is mounted, and make sure that pedal, when you release it, it pulls up all the way and it's touching it.
Could be some gunk in it.
Yeah.
You never know. Could be facing up and stuff has fallen down into the plunger of the sensor or of the switch sensor.
Yeah.
And then inhibiting it from doing what Fort Boss is saying. Keith Michaels, what is up from Alaska? I just
Make
spoke to
sure-
a guy from Alaska yesterday on the phone.
Make sure your cable that goes to the e-brake in the rear it can move freely. Grab a pry bar and push on the lever back there and make sure that it returns, and you can push it nice and easy. It'll return, come back, return, come back. A lot of times those will get froze up and guys don't know it, and it'll cause that pedal to relax, or you'll go to push it. See, people don't use their e-brake and they'll go to push it the first time and it'll snap, or something will freeze up in the back when they go to release it because they don't use it enough. Use it or you lose it.
I was just thinking about that today because I got out of a brand new Explorer, and as soon as I put it in park, open up the door, you heard that.
Yep.
It's like, do they do that on purpose, or do they doing that as a always to not, to use it? You don't, what you just said, use it or you lose it. Like,
No,
is
that's-
that what's the purpose of
that's-
this?
That's purposely done that way now because of the rear subframe fracturing recall. They want the parking brake set every single time it goes into park now.
Really?
So whenever you get the vehicle, when you get in the vehicle to start it up and put it in reverse, you're not jamming into that rear subframe assembly and shearing those bolts back there. So the vehicle has to see in reverse or drive and then release the parking brake. So it's not so much of a shock load on that rear assembly back there to shear them bolts.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Oh
normal
my goodness.
programming.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yep, that's normal programming now. And then the old ones that didn't have it, you have to put that programming in them.
Wow. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is this? Like, is this me? Is this a setting? Like, what is going on?
It's normal now.
Wow. What were we? I was just gonna ask you guys a question.
I'm working on a Super Duty at work. Comeback.
Oh,
Not my comeback. It's another tech, and he's not very good with electrical. He put a blower motor in a 99 F250 Super Duty, and the blower motor has stopped working again. So I am diagnosing why. The blower motor has power, but as soon as you plug the connector back in, all the residual voltage that's there is immediately gone and immediately grounds out the circuit.
Is
So
it the one that's got the pull switch in the dash? It's
It's
kind
one
of like
of
a
the
knob,
old-
but you pull it, and is that the type of switch it has?
no, this is just a high, or just normal low to high, and then your separate selection for what mode you want it to be in. So looking at the wiring schematic, you have a fuse that controls the mode side, and it completes 85 and 86 pole or coil inside the relay. And then the pole pulls and completes the circuit for the blower side. And once it completes the circuit on that side, the switch is what decides which resistance setting the power gets sent through before it goes to ground. So you're looking essentially at two separate circuits. Now I can disable the wire going to the relay, cut it, add my own power to it, and the blower sit there and run all day. So something is going on in that supply circuit where it's eating up the load. And then when I take my power probe and I add my power to that circuit as well while it's intact, it pops the breaker in my power probe because it's just so much load in that circuit. So I have to try to figure out where do I have a short to ground? Do I have a bad motor that he put in that's pulling it down? Do I have something between the relay and where the wire is going to? And I'm the electrical guy, so naturally I get the shit work.
I got stumped on one similar situation. Somebody put a blower and a resistor in one, and it never even came on. And they figured they had just a faulty blower motor, and I was like, no. We clicked it on, and it had power going through both sides of it. And the reason I asked about the switch is it turns out is the switch, even though there was a resistor there, it got its ground through the switch in the dash. And since the switch had failed, it got no ground at all. So it just ran power through the whole motor, through the resistor, and right up to the switch, and never got grounded. That's just why I asked. I recall one once upon a time that kind of got us a little bit.
Well, I may go there. I mean, I could.
I mean, it's a
maybe
simple
not-
circuit too. You got
It's very simple.
motor, resistor, and switch. Yeah.
Now, kind of keeping it, excuse me, keeping it inside the vehicle, and even in the same area where Ford Boss is talking about, where we were referencing the park brake area. If we had, I'm not saying this is something I'm going to be doing in the next week, the next month to my truck. Would you guys really entertain? I made a short talking about it. Would you want to see a Super Duty, an Illuma Duty with a center console mounted shift? I saw one with a King Ranch, and it looked pretty sweet. I don't really care about the extra cup space and this. It doesn't really matter to me. So that's not an option. Is like, no way, I'm not going to do that. But I'm looking at it, and the kit looks very stock. Obviously, they're using Ford parts, but the column shrouds, the harness, which Limitless is going to. I'm not even going to say what Limitless is going to do because you guys already know. Phenomenal A1 OEM work, and a F-150 center console shifter. So I'm kind of excited to see some of the parts in person. I don't know. I think keeping the stock look, keeping the OEM. A lot of guys I've been hearing just recently complain that their truck didn't come with the ambient lighting. And what they're doing is somebody's got a kit and some wiring where they hook up underneath the dash on the passenger side and allows that function to happen, and adding the little rings in the cup holder. So that's actually, I don't know, I would do it. I just don't have, I have those personally on my vehicle. So I don't have anybody around that's local that would be interested in, getting those installed into the interior. But I think, I don't know, center console shift, I think would be kind of cool.
Are you gonna put that in your truck?
I don't know. We'll see how much a kit is. I don't know. I know.
I wonder how hard it would be to add a center console to a truck that doesn't have one.
Well, front seats are going to be different. So it's because I think the passenger seat's hooked to the middle.
No, passenger seat's not hooked to the middle.
I don't know if you could just swap in a center console though.
The issue was like when the center console hits the IP, there's no way for the IP to receive the center console. So I think you'd have to replace some of that trim
Oh yeah,
on the
duh.
IP as well.
You'd have to pull all the trim off because the center console clips into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that whole piece would have to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes. How come you're fronting? How come you're fronting in your videos? Don't be fooled with the diesel. Get that 7.3 Godzilla. You missed your 450, man?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The 7.3 is cool. It's everything you would ever need. But if you've experienced the 6.7, then So as long as you've been,
For you guys watching, if you guys don't know who DS Trucks is, DNS over here, he had in the background a 2020 450, and it was a bad bitch. He recently had just got it back, had the frame replaced, but while he was waiting for it, his gas 7.3 came in, and he decided to get rid of the 450, and now he's having diesel seller's remorse. If there was one thing, you now being a new Ford truck owner of a 7.3 Godzilla, what is the one thing that you do not like about that truck? Do you not like
in regards to the engine itself and
the
drivetrain?
engine, the transmission, the drivetrain, the axle, your gears? Because you don't got 430 gears.
Right, I don't have nothing to what do I not like about it?
You know what I don't like? I don't like that you're getting such shitty fuel mileage.
That's what happens when you buy a gas.
Well,
I mean, I really.
well, the problem
is
with
just-
that is,
He's trying to drive it like a diesel, and it just doesn't
No.
have the
no, the thing
Mhm.
about
behind it. It just doesn't have it.
He
thing
wants
about
to be
the
rock
difference
hard.
in fuel mileage,
Perform.
what I've noticed is it gets like 8.8. It's somewhere in the eights. It don't matter when you load it. You can plow. It's somewhere in the eight. You can get a little better if you drive normal. I'm usually either speeding, hauling, or towing. So it's always getting 8.
Typical.
All right.
Mileage. It's
Wow.
kind of the same as the 6.7 because if the diesel fuel costs more money. So if the two fuels cost the same amount of money, then yeah, we getting terrible mileage, but it kind of all balances out anyway. If I
That's
could
what
say
happened.
the one thing I don't like about the 7.3
That's funny.
is if you compare the 7.3 to the 6.2, it's better, but it's not that much better. Like the 6.7 is way better than the 6.2. Like it's a whole different ball game. The 7.3, it's the best in class and all that. It's good, but what's the power rating on it? It's only 475 torque. That's EcoBoost territory. Well, EcoBoost used
I
to be
thought it
that.
was like-
EcoBoost,
I thought it was
EcoBoost
like
higher.
400. I thought it was something like 460 or 475 horsepower and something like 550 foot-pounds of torque or something like that.
No, it's only 475 foot-pounds of torque, and it's 430 horsepower or something like that.
Okay.
The horsepower.
So
Hey.
you're talking 5-liter power.
Hey,
Yeah.
So-
So when you go ahead,
how does it feel driving an LS?
it feels
It's all right.
it feels better than the LS. I can tell. Well, last LS that I owned was a 6-liter. It was a body like what Ray drives. It was a 6-liter Vortec. So the 7.3 feels better than the LS, and it feels better than the 6.2
Hey,
in a lot of
hey,
ways.
you better keep that damn oil changed. I'm telling you right now.
You better keep that damn oil there.
You better keep
In the
that oil
7.3?
changed. Man, these boys are popping up on social media left and right with that 7.3, talking about how they're trying to run 7,000 miles and stuff like that. at 30.
Oh shit.
That's the
30,
thing.
30.
A lot of people are like, "Hey, man, did you change the oil yet? It's time to change the oil." I got 4,000 on the truck. It still got the factory oil in it
Why didn't you change it at 1,000 miles?
because usually I do that, but now I just
You-
haven't done it because it's less. I'm less particular about it now because it's more
Hey,
of a
you better
tool.
drop the oil, get some fresh oil in there, put some good stuff in there, and quit slacking. A
I
lot
think
of
I
these
should do an analysis and see what the heck's going on with it.
I mean, a lot of these guys are saying between 30 and 40,000 miles when they're kind of being lax with the oil changes is when they're starting to see the lifter issues, the camshaft delaminate and stuff like that. There's a bunch of techs on social media that have recently popped up and they're like, yeah, I got 40, 50,000 miles, 35,000 miles. I've got 3 of them sitting out back or 2 of them sitting out back that need engines.
As long as it happens
So-
before 336 and you get that long block, baby.
Yeah,
Do you think the
that's what we did, Cody. Ours was like, the one we had was like 34,000 miles. It was before the 336, so we got a long block. And another one was at 40, and it still got a long block.
do you think the
Damn.
6.2 being an overhead cam with the roller follower design, do you think that's going to be a better, because it's probably less pressure and stuff with that design?
I mean,
We
I
know
like
that top end.
6.7 in it, man.
I like the two that are don't get me wrong. I like the concept of the 7.3, but I don't like the fact that it's a shared internal engine component design with the issues that Chevy's already having. Now we're having the same thing because we're using the same type of design with the manifolds and the lifters and push rods. And, you know, it's like, did you not learn? Did you not learn whenever you were, you know, when you thought you were going to stick LS6 lifters and rockers and push rods and everything else in here and decide to just run it and say to hell with it?
Well, LS used to be so good, at least from what I remember back in the
You're
day
right,
when I
but
had those.
over the last
Mhm.
few years, they've taken quite a bit of it. The only reason LS got a bad rep was because of the AFM. Without the AFM stuff, the LS engine, the LS type design is one of the best designs ever created today.
Agreed.
But the AFM stuff in 2007 is what took a lot of it downhill. And then come 2013, 14, they started having a little bit of uprising issues, and it kind of went down. But over the last few years, they've been hit hard with class action lawsuits and all kinds of stuff. Trucks coming off of the transport truck with already bent push rods and lifter issues
Mhm.
because of a defective type lifter design. And now we're running a big block 7.3 in our Super Duties
Oh.
with the same type of lifter
Leave the
push
cat
rod
alone.
rocker setup. I mean, and they're already having failures at about 30 to 40,000 miles.
Go lay down,
I will say, oh, go ahead.
dog.
Nope. I was just on something else.
I will say it seems like while the 7.3 is, you know, obviously more powerful and stuff and sounds a little bit better and all that, if you really kind of like sit there and listen to them both between the 7.3 and the 6.2, the 6.2 is a little bit smoother than the
I like
7.3.
the 6.2. The 6.2 has been one of my favorite tried and true designs that they've had for a long time. The guys still love it, still work the hell out of them. They're still getting 300,000 or 400,000 miles out of them.
So I've been a little nervous about what to do here because I got one more year left until I'm done paying for my 6.2, but I don't know if I want to stick it out and then maybe deal with some of the issues that I have with this truck as it kind of gets up there in the years that I've had it. It's
But
had
you
a
ain't
weird.
You ain't getting rid of it.
I mean, I've kicked around the idea because it's had a weird water leak that I've never been able to figure out. It's had you know, obviously the exhaust manifold issue, a little bit of electrical problems that I just never figured out. The engine and trans though, they're really running good. Engine runs good, trans is good.
We'll figure it out.
But I'm gonna have to work on it. It's coming here in the future. I'm gonna eventually have to address the exhaust manifold. It's gonna be a huge project. The exhaust is looking a little rusty.
You got it.
Little stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but I kind of
You
think about
got
the numbers of
You
it,
got it.
and it's like it's getting to the point where it's gonna start nickel and diming me as well as
Mhm.
you know.
I'm telling you, you're gonna see a video on DS's channel, and he's gonna try doing them exhaust manifolds in his driveway, and I'm gonna get a call and be like, "Hey Rod, what's up, big bro? I screwed up.
Yes, you did.
I'm trying to take my exhaust manifolds off in my driveway. You did? Wait, what? No. That's not good.
No, you can get in there though. You can get at them pretty good, but dang, will that motor have to come out? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if
You
it's
can
gonna have
always
to
raise
come
the
out.
cab. You can
but we're
always
gonna
raise the
be-
cab with the 2x4s.
I mean,
like
let's
that one
say
guy, yeah.
Like that one
let's
guy.
say you get it
Yeah.
unbolted, right? Like let's say you're in this thing and you get it unbolted, right? And it's there. How do you get it out of the truck? Like, is there space to pull it out,
Yeah,
or
I think so.
Yeah.
are
I
you sure?
suppose
Like,
if you loosen the motor mounts got a jiggle jack or a jack, jack and a block of wood, jacked up the crank, put something between the motor mounts, and did this whole, jack, getting it up so then you could
Rigmarole.
actually,
Talking
yeah,
about,
rigmarole.
are you talking about lifting the cab up?
No, lifting
No,
the
oh,
motor
by
up
the
in
engine.
the engine.
I mean, once you
in the-
take the wheel liners out, you can kind of see it pretty good. I
Yeah,
mean,
that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
well,
you can get it
seeing
out.
and putting tools in there are two totally different things.
the middle there where that shock tower or spring tower is, it kind of blocks it a little, but you can get at them pretty good.
Well, you also
The
don't have a
problem is the
welder.
corrosion. That's the real issue. Like you can get at them all day, but if they're rotted away, then that's the issue.
Man, this is what you do, DS. This is what you do. You go to the parts store, you get a big old giant tube of JB Weld muffler cement, and you just
Muffler cement.
Well, they didn't crack yet, but they look like they came out of the Titanic. So
They look bad, dude.
I just been running it. Like I just ignore it, whatever. If the heat shields and everything all fell off, they're gone.
You're gonna
and-
go up a driveway and it's gonna flex, and you're instantly gonna hear. Oh
You're gonna hear
shit! Yeah,
Turn
you're
the
gonna know
radio up.
instantly what you just did, or what just happened.
So I mean,
Can
part of me
you
is
do
like,
this live, DS?
part of me is like the 7.3. All right, Ford Boss, you brought up some issues, maybe with some valve train issues, maybe that could happen. But I'm telling you, I didn't get the best luck of the draw on this 10-speed either.
change the oil.
Just change the. You said change the oil
Yeah, change the oil.
on the engine
Change the oil. You're supposed to do that at 1,000 miles.
for real.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a myth. I always did it though at 1,000.
Yeah.
Thought it was a
First
myth, but I
1,000?
always did it.
He only does it all the
because-
time, 90% of the time.
Now I'm just like I don't even care. I just
Yeah.
change the first oil when it says it's time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Muffler cement and just effing send it. That's
Hey man,
fucking
I
awesome.
had a dude bring an Econoline in, and he's like, "Look, man, this is a backup vehicle of mine. I've got some issues going on and stuff like that. Can you fix the main stuff, and then just do what you can with the rest of it? I don't want to put a ton of money into it." And he was a good customer. I said, "Do you just want this thing to pass emissions?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do." I
Yeah.
said, "All right, so I'll fix all the major concerns, and then the two studs on both sides in the back were snapped on the rear part of the manifold." I said, "You really ain't trying to put no money into this thing. I'm going to seal it up right now. I'm going to get it sealed up for you, and it's going to pass emissions. It is going to pass real good, but I'm going to get it to pass." And he said, "Yep." I said, "Hey, parts guy, give me a big old tube of that JB Weld muffler cement." The stuff showed up, and I painted it on there like Picasso, baby.
Just so it didn't leak. That was it.
Packed it back in all the cracks while it was wet, all the way until it got in between the flanges. I let that part dry, and then I Picassoed that stuff all the way around, stuck my fingers up on the inside.
Wow.
Please tell
Got
me
it
you painted your
all around,
initials.
and then smoothed it all out, made it look like it was factory. You look at that thing, you're like, "What the hell? Who did this artwork here? It's beautiful."
What kind of artwork do you think you
Boss,
could work on DS's? Look at how bad this is.
Check it out, Ford Boss. So
That's it.
exhaust
That's it,
manifolds, hopefully
Tell
Hopefully
them
I
how many
can-
miles are on it.
like 27,000 miles.
Okay.
He's up
And
in there. Look at that.
27,000 miles, and it looks that bad.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Oh,
shoot.
Man, that ain't nothing. I seen it look like powder coming in.
Life's a little funky right now because it's
Man, you better get in there and get those manifolds off.
Funky fresh, the funky fresh women. Rough.
I see it.
There you go. There you go.
I got you. I see you right there. I see you.
some look
They're not-
worse.
They're not bad yet. You better, but you better get to them soon.
Need
You
some
better
metal
start
protector on
spraying. You
that.
better start. You
Mhm.
better. Yeah, and you're the metal protector guy. Why are you not putting metal protector on it?
On the exhaust manifolds.
can you put metal protector on manifolds?
I'd be putting goop on everything.
Now tell me what you think about this. I was thinking about getting some high temp RTV and covering up just the threads, so that if I wanted to take
seen-
them off.
We have a dude that comes into the dealership. He went and got that copper high temp
Oh yeah.
RTV stuff. And from new, when he did his manifolds, he gooped up all the threads and the nut and everything in that stuff. And there's no rust or anything on those studs at all. They look brand
That's
new.
what I was thinking of doing. That's a good idea, huh?
They look brand new. You could take a wire wheel to those studs, pull them right out, pull the nuts right off that thing.
Well, if you run those nuts off,
What?
it should tear that RTV right out of the way, huh?
Well, yeah, but you got to clear enough off to get to the nuts, and then you put a new set of nuts on
Oh.
if you want it. Just
He covers the whole. He covers the whole nut with RTV.
Yeah, everything. He didn't want any of it to rust, or just the nut and the stud coming out, and none of it rusts. He makes sure he gets it down across the top of the manifold here where the nut goes down. None of it rusts.
How
What do you
many
think
past
What do you think about
drivers?
this, so far?
Looks nice.
I just finished building this all out of aluminum to hold these machines.
Nice.
Thick as.
Now, if you could only take the skill that you just put into that aluminum and building those shelves and put it into those manifolds, you might be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good
Roger
point.
that.
Copy that.
Roger that.
It looks nice. It looks real good. Who'd you pay to do it?
I did it.
Ah. What is it? Man, I'm tired of this electrical work. Today I worked on an 03 town car. PCM not controlling the voltage regulator properly. Had to go through the whole freaking diag process to figure out it was a PCM, and had to tell the customer, look, you got to put a PCM in this thing. I'm tired of it.
What do you guys do to combat the nastiness? Well, these two gentlemen on the top left, they don't count. And the guy in the middle, the two guys in the middle, and the guy at the top. And I'm not talking about me. They don't count. What do you guys do to combat the nastiness that you bring into your floor mats in the winter or in your vehicle? We have to, even getting into customers' vehicles, I try to always put my butt in, let my feet hang out, slap my feet together to make sure I'm not bringing in this,
There's no place like home. There's
Oh,
no
you're
place
talking
like
about
home.
the snow kick where you tap your feet
Oh,
on the door sill
yeah.
and knock it
The
all.
Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz.
see, I know about
Yeah,
that.
it's bad.
Snow kick.
It's a lot of guys got Huskies. We got WeatherTechs. I know DS is big Husky fan. He did a couple videos a few years back about Husky and put them in his Super Duties and F-150s. And I got some WeatherTech HPs in our truck. Some guys have the vinyl floor, and no, that does not mean you can hose it out with a garden hose. Gosh, please don't do that. That's not what that means. Is it easier to clean with like a rag and a sponge or a bristled brush? And then what? Yes, by all means, but you cannot hose it out. That's not what that's for.
You guys ever seen those boot cleaners that you put next to your door? It's got the bristles inside of it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I worked on a guy's F-250. He was a construction worker, so they get muddy all the time. He had that mounted on his step rail. It was just like a bristle. So he would
Oh,
knock the mud off of his boot, step in, knock the mud off the other one, step in.
I've seen some semis with that.
Hmm. Yeah, the step rails on semis have those.
Mhm.
But he put it on his
Dump 'em.
F-250. Smart guy.
Smart fella. I mean, smart fella.
Yeah, that too.
Yes,
Mhm.
Alfred. Customers' vehicles. Well, not my vehicle. Yeah. It's kind of a pain, and if you're having the snow and salt mixture, you almost have to clean the wetness up right away, because then the salt will stain the carpet and it'll wind up getting all hard around the edges of where it dries. It just really ruins everything. And I think it's I see quite a few guys come in with towels, like dollar store bath towels, folded up on the floor, all over the, it'll be on the chairs, over the center console. I flipped my floor with a fire hose. No. Built to last, Duralast. I don't know. Duralast pads are like the only pads I feel that I have to grind down the ears because they don't want to fit in the.
They never fit right.
They never do.
Not impressed.
No, I'm not impressed at all.
Make a mess.
We do have a full power stop, front and rear brake kit. We're trying to get that installed. We got some more important things currently going on in the 6-7 world. My wife is a dollar store queen.
They're no longer dollar stores. They're $1.25 stores.
$1.25.
$1.50 here.
Let's do a weekly fuel check. I saw a couple of guys spitting out fuel prices earlier, but for the 200 that's watching right now, what are your fuel prices that are out currently? I don't care if it's gasoline, if it's diesel. I mean, I'd rather it be gasoline prices, but unfortunately, diesel's still hovering around the five-ish mark.
It went down to like 265 for gas, and then over
Oh,
the last
wow.
week, it went all the way back up to like 302, 303, 299, just out of nowhere. I think diesel here is down to like 485. 480, 485.
493 Utah, 381 Illinois. 329 Bradenton,
We were
499 San Diego.
We were
We're in
489 for diesel.
381 where in Illinois?
For diesel.
Yeah, but around me, diesel's still 480, 485. I'm in Illinois.
279 in Clark County, Arkansas.
Kansas.
Wow. 427 southeast Wisconsin. 295 for regular gas in central Connecticut. Wow. 313 gas, South Carolina. 319 in Michigan. Dang, I don't think I've seen it that low. $1.46 in Toronto. In CA. Wow. 619 in Cali. Ugh.
They can have it. They can have the whole state.
Yeah, for real.
Ah.
What do you think about, did you see on the broadcast message for boss, the opportunity to go to Huntington Beach, California for the
For
first
work?
time senior master
Oh,
for 22? Didn't you get it for 22?
unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that because they're not sending me to my 2 trans classes by the time. Yeah. And I'm up for it. I'm close. Everything's done. Everything's caught up other than the last 2
son of a
classes.
bean.
Aaron should be getting 23 senior master here soon too.
I think I got a couple more to do.
Those last like 4 days that I was home from the getting hurt at work, all I did was train, just online training nonstop. And I was like, dude, I didn't do new car training all the way back to 2020, and I had no idea.
Yeah, we just did the weekend. We did 2 of them. One's that got to keep your like there's some tests that you got to do that you can just do, and then there's some you got to do to keep the
Yeah.
cert rolling.
It was good because I've experienced so many 2020s and 2021s that I was able to just go right to the test and just take them because I already knew and already worked on so many of them already that I didn't even have to go through the whole module.
A lot of guys, I'm just commenting to your guy about Forescan. If you do guys get the dongle, the OBD EX cable, the one that I've been recommending off of Amazon, let us know. We've been successfully remoting in and taking care of. A lot of guys don't like the numbers. If you got access to watch Cody's channel, he just went over Forescan Lite. There's a couple things that you can and cannot do with Forescan Lite that you can do with the regular one. But is definitely worth it. I was kind of on the fence when I first heard about Forescan and was like, oh, I'm just using IDS and FDRS. But once I started seeing it and using it, I was like, what?
The way I compare it is Forescan Lite is like the Ford Diag dongle that they have out now, and Forescan regular is like FDRS IDS.
Mhm.
It's the way
I
I
would-
look at it.
I'd concur. Definitely a must, and it's not something that would be just for your truck. It can be for your wife's Explorer. It can be for your brother's Flex. It's all Ford vehicles, and it's really cool. It's a cheap, very efficient scan tool that allows you to communicate on the MS and HS CAN. And the biggest thing with working and repairing these vehicles is talking to them. Heated seat. Well, how are you going to know what the temp is of the TED if you can't talk to it? You have to be able to access that medium speed CAN network to talk to the driver's seat module. Whatever the case is, it's the diagnosis electrical stuff you see Ford Boss go through. We got to access the HVAC module, or we got to do, there's a bunch of stuff, data that we need to look at. So what brother drives a Flex? That was the first one that came off my tongue. That's funny. No, my brother does not
Flex?
drive a Flex.
A lot of people like those, man.
I know. I wasn't really big with them.
A lot of people still today are like so upset that Ford quit making them, and there are a lot of people come to the dealership specifically looking for those. They only want to buy a Flex. Even a couple of the technicians in the shop, the senior techs, they are looking for like mint condition Flexes that come in. Because some of them came with the twin turbo setup, the sport one. Some of them came NA and all-wheel drive, and a lot of people just like them. There's a lot of room inside.
Yeah, they want that 7th seat, but they don't want a big Expedition or big EL or whatever.
Yeah. Did you see the new the kits have been rolling in? It's not Super Duty, guys, so don't shoot me, just for conversation purposes. We're a bunch of techs here. The new 1.5 EcoBoost like escapes the fuel injector cracking recall, like a safety recall.
What?
The kits, yeah, there's like a fuel injector cracking
Oh
recall.
yeah.
They started doing them today, and I went up and I was like, what are you doing to this thing? And it was like, well, you get this tube. It's like a big pack. It's like a foot long by foot wide and stuff like that. And there's a hose rolled up in there with a metal barb out of the end of it. It has a straight fitting, and then the hose goes up to where the set collar is, and then it's clamped on. And he says, you look in the side of the cylinder head right there, or like right where the injector valley is, there's a blue dot. And I said, yeah, I see it right there. You see that whole open hole right next to the blue dot on the driver's side, right? You got to remove the air box and you can see it right from the side. And I said, yeah, I see that right there. It's open. And he says, yeah, the new recall is we got to take this line and we have to jam it inside that hole with a special Loctite compound that calls for that we had to order off eBay because nobody has it available. So they had to order it off eBay to get this compound in to meet the recall requirement. And you got to put this stuff on this a specific way, and then you got to shove this barb back in the hole. And then if the fuel injectors or anything ever crack, it'll have a pathway of releasing the fuel through that tube down along the side of the transmission, down behind the driver's side wheel well. And there's a Christmas tree that's attached to the line that you clip into a little hole that's down there, and it dumps it down behind the wheel onto the ground in case the injectors ever crack. And it's part of the, it's a pathway that's where the valley is, and it just
No kidding.
it routes it down that hose down behind the or next to the driver wheel. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? This is the recall?" They're like, "Well, yeah. If they crack, they want the fuel to run out and away and down onto the ground instead of all over the engine bay." And I was like, "Oh my freaking god, man!"
I worked on my first one thing we did is injectors, and we installed upside down. Buddy. I worked on my first 4-cylinder Explorer all-wheel drive. That thing was kind of cute.
Yeah,
Little
they're-
4-cylinder up in there.
They're quick. too.
Transfer case looking like a little mini Super Duty one just off the back of it, like a not a PTU, but like a normal little transfer case off the back of the trans.
The problem is,
Like a mini me.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
so I if anybody ends up needing one of the higher end transfer cases for one of the Explorers, I have one that I rebuilt and I resealed with Ultra Gray. So it's my transfer case. I own it. I put the new clutch pack and everything in it. It's made for one of the higher trim level ones. So I have one. If anybody ends up needing one, I have it in my possession. I put the new clutch pack and everything, cleaned it out, put all new silicone and stuff, new seals. And that's for a new Bronco, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm looking at the Explorer and I'm looking at the transfer case on it. And then it's got the drive shaft that goes towards the front. And then it goes into a little gearbox. And then it transfers. One CV axle goes out to one wheel. And then the other side has a hub shaft that goes through the front oil pan. And it connects into that gearbox. And then CV axle goes out the other side. And what ends up happening is, even the 4-cylinders now, that hub shaft that goes through the front of that oil pan, that O-ring shrinks, and gear oil that goes in that front unit where the oil pan is on the V6s and the 4-cylinders ends up leaking out past that seal on the driver's side, and it leaks down the oil pan onto the drain plug, and it makes it look like fresh engine oil is coming out of the oil pan seal, and it's not. It's actually coming out of the hub actuator. And what you do is you got to pull that apart, pull the hub shaft and stuff out of there, the hub actuator assembly out of there, and you replace the O-ring. When you put the O-ring in there, they haven't updated the part number. 10, 15, 20,000 miles later, it comes back, the seal is shrunk again, and you're putting another new seal in. They have no fix for it. Now, I heard word of mouth is, and I ain't going to dime anybody out, they're doing away with that. They're going to make it to where you cannot control the 4-wheel drive anymore. It cannot actuate and disengage that hub actuator clutch pack anymore. They're making it to where they're taking that away, and it's going to be a all-wheel drive unit all the time. It's not going to be able to engage and disengage to control that clutch pack in for that front 4-wheel drive portion anymore. It's going to be a basically all-time all-wheel drive, but not quite like all-wheel drive. They're trying to eliminate some more of that heat in the front, and even the ones that are out, if you get a hub actuator clutch pack failure code, what you have to do on the V6s and the 4-cylinders is you have to pull that unit out of there. When you order a new one, it's a replace unit. Even when those codes are present, they say replace it because it's failing inside. When you put the new unit in, the electrical connector and stuff is sheer, it's not there anymore. You clip the wires going to the connector that go to that front 4-wheel drive hub shaft. You basically tape them off, heat shrink them, tie them up inside the harness. The new unit goes in. It now becomes activated all the time. You can't control it anymore to save fuel mileage because it wasn't really saving fuel mileage like they thought. And then you got to go into the trans control module or the transfer case control module, and you have to reprogram it for the new hub actuator. That's how the new system gets updated. And that's the failure with that. Now we're starting to see them in passenger cars pretty heavily.
How many driver's side master window switches have you put in those?
Oh my God. It's like almost, I don't know, every single one. I'm being a little.
For
Every
the right rear window?
Not only that, it's not just that though. It's the master switch failure in general. Now, we had an issue where early on, and it's still happening today, all the chrome is delaminating off of the buttons. And it's the police officers are saying they're cutting their fingers open when they go to grab the window and go to lift the window up, push it down or something like that. That chrome is flaking off of it and they're getting these little slits in the tips of their fingers. And some of the passenger cars are coming in and the chrome's already peeling back with these sharp edges and stuff. And the master switches in general are just failing altogether. They're terrible. They're garbage. We keep them in stock on the shelf now because we go through so many of them.
It was one of my first ones. So I called down to one of the senior guys down the shop and I'm like, hey, is it the right window? I'm like, as I got the door open and I got the switch out and I'm like, all right, what do I, let me see if he's got anything. Is it the right window? I'm like, yeah. He's like, put a master window switch. I'm like, for real? He's like, dude, I've done 50 of them. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes me feel better. Okay, go get me one. Sends it down. Guess what? It don't fix it. I'm like, hey, man, have you got bad switches out of the box? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, well, I'm gonna start going through. He's like, man, for real? He's like, we've done them so many times. We've just done them in the aisle. He's like, I mean, they're that. I'm like, all right, well, shit. I'm all right. I have no power going to the right rear window motor.
Mm-hmm.
I got the switch out. I see what wire should have power, and I give it power. Boom, the window goes ups and downs. I'm using the switch at the right window. I'm like, all right, so all right, well, now I'm gonna have to take the B pillar. I put the seat all the way up, took the sill plates off, took the B pillar off, and I'm looking at the wires going through. I see the connector. I leave them connected. I depress the tabs, take it out of the B pillar. So now I have it out of the vehicle and they're still connected in.
Yeah.
All right, so I take the white one off. I take the black one off. Check for power. I'm like, all right, man, that's weird. I got power here, but I don't have power down here. I pull the rubber condom thing back off of the, off the thing, and they did not push the power wire all the way into the connector. Bro.
Yeah, you must have had a different one then, because
Bro.
I'm in concurrence with your other guy, your other senior guy.
I called him back and I told him, he's like, are you for real? Bro, you gotta come down and look at this. I don't know, but it made sense because, well, I mean, I would kind of find it kind of weird. It was a 22, it had 10,000 miles on it, police vehicle, undercover. It's happened since day one. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, fuck, why the fuck did you bring it in 10,000 miles ago? So did it really happen since day one? So it's like I'm trying to paint the picture. And then when I found the wire, I'm like, well, damn, I guess it did happen since day one. There's no way this was even making connection.
Yeah.
Pretty weird.
Yeah. I mean, they're junk, man. They don't
But
last.
I did like the door panel though. This was my first time taking one of these off, and you squeeze the lock thing that goes up and down, and it's like on a cable and just kind of whoa. Hey, I like that. Put it back on. You ain't trying to, fiddle fart it over the lip and then get the, put the rod.
You got to get in there and pull that center of that door and stuff all.
No, okay. How do you do that? What is that all about? Is that all riveted or what?
That's a whole regulator assembly that's all built into the center of that door. So you
got that whole black thing is the whole regulator. Are you for real?
That whole thing's got to come out of there, and those plastic tabs around the outside, they turn, they lock, they loosen up, turn, lock, loosen up, turn, lock, loosen up.
Oh,
you gotta go. Yeah, you gotta like disconnect the glass out of it. You gotta have it like plungered up with the little suction cups or tape, whatever you use. You got
Oh
to pull that thing
man.
out. Yeah, and then
'Cause
the inserts for the door handles for the locks for the police cars. Early on, they were all made of plastic. So you can imagine those cops getting in and out of their cars all the time. They go to lock the door, unlock, lock the door, unlock, lock the door, unlock. They shear off the back of that plastic assembly that goes into. So now there's an update kit for the cables, the latches, the lock cylinders. There's even a service message out that talks about possibly recutting 4 new keys and new lock cylinders and everything. And it's like, that Explorer was a flop, dude. I'm sorry. It was a flop. It was a flop. I like the way it looks. I think it looks really cool. I think they make really good power for what they are. The concept and stuff was there. But you notice whenever those Explorers go to take off, that 4-wheel drive, it almost sounds like it's a race car winding up, ready to ratchet and take off. It's just all the chain, the really weird 4-wheel drive sounds as they go to. It's like, no, this is not a Chrysler, man. This is a Ford. It's not supposed to sound like that.
Before we get off, Mark Parker was something we need to talk about. Is Ford ditching the CP4? We don't know yet. It's still very fresh in the talks. I haven't heard anything else except for the article that I read. Lumaduty had it posted to his Instagram.
It's a no.
I don't know.
That. It's a no. They're still using CP4.
Yeah, they still are. I don't know if there's going to be a recall on them. Haven't
No,
heard
there's not
anything.
going to be a recall on it.
Don't know.
Ford's made it abundantly clear with the GSB. It's not their problem if it's contaminated. Period. Full stop. And-
CP fizzle. Oof. A lot of guys, that really scares them. And I don't want to deal with it. I can't deal with it. And they wind up not getting a 6.7. You know, it's a lot of guys, I guess knowing's half the battle. In Rayman's truck, he's got the Dirty Max. I had to double look at that. I was like, does that really say Dirty Max?
Oh, when you saw the emblem on the side.
Yeah. Does that
Like,
really
is
say
that
Dirty?
really Dirty Max?
Yeah, it does.
I got those
He's
on eBay too, bro.
he's got CP3.
Badges on my truck say Dirty Max.
Yeah, that was funny.
You see that?
Wife
that-
unit didn't know. She's like, "What? Really?"
You see that short? It was not too long ago, or maybe it's old. I don't know, but it's the first time I seen it. It was a dude like out in California or something like that, and he took his Power Stroke to the gas station to fill up, and I guess he filled the truck up with diesel or something like that, and it was diesel that had water in it.
Oh,
And he had claimed that the reason he had the CP4 failure and the $15,000 for this fuel system and stuff like that was because of where he got his fuel. It wasn't because of his service. And like the guy at the fuel station was completely denying it had anything to do with him. And he created such a stink about it on social media that it made the headlines. And the news reporter went out to the fuel station to actually talk to the owner and basically was grilling him, making him feel like it was his fault that this guy's fuel system had failed and stuff like that. And this guy was like, "Oh, I'm so concerned because I'm a Power Stroke owner, and this contamination was because of this owner of the fuel station." And the guy was like, "I had somebody come out right after this and test the fuel, and the fuel was completely fine." What it comes down to is these guys don't keep up on their maintenance on these vehicles, and that's exactly what it is.
It is. I mean, literally 99% of the ones I've done is lack of maintenance.
the
yeah.
last one I did was he put death in the fuel system.
It's customer error most of the time. If they're gonna
Yeah.
fail, they're gonna fail within like 10,000 miles.
That's the worst one too. Like, did you have to put death in there? Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, all of the ones, I've only done a handful, but all of the ones that I've done in the diesel tech that we have now, whenever you go by Ford's criteria, when you're diagnosing it and you're looking at the signs and symptoms of why it failed. Every single one of them come back to moisture in the fuel system, and they're all going to come back to it's on the customer. It's not on Ford.
Yeah.
And that's why they're never going to have a recall on it. Never. Because they've already made a document saying this, this, and this, period.
No ifs, ands, or booty butts.
I mean,
I remember-
I approved fuel systems for Ford.
I remember
Motor
the
Company.
first one that the first one I did, I was so scared because I knew how much it was going to cost, and I knew how much work goes into it. And it was my first, very, very first one. Then I was in communication with Hotline, and they said, we want you to take pictures of this, this, and this, and send it to us. So I took all these pictures, gave it to the service manager. The service manager got them all put into the documentation and stuff like that, sent off, and they came back and said, no, see that rust in the center of that? See the rust in the center of that? It's a key indication that there's moisture in the system. The customer may have introduced something like this. Does the truck have any aftermarket like add-ons or anything like that? And we were honest. It was our first one. So we were like, yeah, the guy's got a fuel tank in the bed of his truck, and he has it basically draining down into the main tank to keep it full. He just opens a valve and just fills it up a certain way and then shuts the valve back off. And they're like, yeah, this guy has no proper cap on the in-bed fuel tank. The cap's busted off of it with just an insert. There's no filter in between the two. Who knows how long the fuel sits in the bed of this thing before it's getting used. It
True
sits
that.
out. So they're like, nah, this whole thing is not warranty. It's all on the customer. So we ended up taking it was close to $15,000, and we ended up helping the guy out, and we ended up doing it for like $9,000. We ended up giving him almost everything it cost. And just,
Damn.
yeah.
I'll put the TSB or the GSB number in the chat so everyone can go look at it.
Hey guys, I gotta hop off here. I hate to cut it short.
Peace out, man.
All right, I'll hit you guys up tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be in here shortly too. Ford ESP warranties is definitely a must. We've talked about that here on the channel as well. ESP warranties. If you get the Ford Premium Care, out of all the warranties, the one Ford Boss and CPs and myself we like to work with usually is $100 deductible. It's not bumper to bumper. There are some things that they don't cover. They will not cover wheels. They will not cover running boards, and exterior trim type things. But for the most part, I'd say 95% of everything is covered. I have it on my truck. I would recommend you get it on your vehicle. It's a package of $3,000. I could put a turbo on your truck and not have warranty, and it's going to be $3,800. So it definitely can, definitely pay for itself. So, Ford Boss, Rain Man, CPs, and Sleepy DS. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. DS, we'll see you on the weekend. Everybody else, I'm heading to the Snack Shack. Hey, I know where you're going. I want some Oreos. We'll see you guys. Please be patient. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. We cannot upload any videos or shorts from our mobile devices. So
That's all right. From what you don't watch with Ray and Aaron, just come over and watch us that can't upload. We'll take care of you. We'll entertain you.
Yeah, watch these guys until it works.
yeah, they're picking up the slack for us.
Check me out.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to you all later. We appreciate you. Have a good rest of the week. And